Okay. Aloha, friends. Welcome back. Welcome back. It's author Joe Holt. Another fireside chat for you today. And got a good buddy of mine here.
Hey,
He's got a new name. We're gonna get into that. Sage, welcome to the show.
what's up, man? Thanks for having me, bro.
Absolutely, absolute pleasure to have you. And we're just gonna jump right into it.
Alrighty, let's do it, man.
The first
I'm
question,
excited.
me too, me too. Here we go, here we go. So the first question I always ask, it's a two-part question, and it goes a little something like this. When did you start streaming? But also, what got you into streaming?
Oh, so I started streaming I'm pretty sure it was around like 2014. I was over on Twitch. And what really got me into it at first is first I had a friend on the Xbox that was like, yo, you gotta check out these StarCraft guys on Twitch. So that's what introduced me to the site in the first place. Um, so I had my account since like maybe 2013. It was just kind of browsing around every so often. And then I came across Tim the Tat Man on the front page and started watching him, and kind of that was the first community that I ever became a part of, like as far in regards to streaming. And I was like, yo, I like what this guy does, and I want to be able to do that like in my own way. So that's what really like first like kickstarted everything for me.
So just started watching streaming in 2013, or you started streaming in 2013?
I started watching streams, like I would check out stuff here and there, but wasn't too heavy on the site until 2014. So and
Well,
then started streaming 2 months after 2 months after I was watching Tim.
so I mean, you've still been streaming like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I've been streaming for a while now.
And when you first started streaming, it was just because you saw other people doing it and you thought that would be something fun to try?
It was more so a thing of like I didn't know I didn't know it was a thing. Like I didn't
Mm.
like to me, like I wasn't even really heavy into like gaming videos on YouTube. Like I didn't know that you could build a community and chat with people. I thought it was just like, hey, watch people play video games and that was it.
Mm.
But seeing like Tim's example of streaming, I was like, I could definitely get into that. And I was like, I was at a period of time in my life, like I was in a real like dark place, and
Mm.
had a lot of friends cut me off for certain reasons. And so I wanted to stream not only for myself to feel like I had some type of community, but so that other people didn't have to feel that way, you know? I was
Mm.
like, if I can provide that entertainment for somebody at the end of the day that might feel how I feel, um, then that's what I wanted to do, man. So, and I'm still that way too, to where that really keeps me motivated to stream is um knowing that I might be somebody's person for the day, you know?
Absolutely. I didn't even know streaming was a thing until 2017, just like you're saying, and watched it and realized it was a great way to kind of make friends, all over the
Yeah.
world. And I know you do a lot of chatting on your shows, and I like that encouragement and that contact.
Yeah.
DLive specifically seems to be one of the best platforms for that sort of community interaction.
You know, I've noticed that too. And well, when I first transitioned from Twitch over to DLive, there wasn't a whole lot of people doing chatting.
Mm.
So I was like, I don't know how, you know, how DLive is gonna take to this, because I didn't want to come over to DLive and be doing the Twitch just chatting thing and have
Mm.
people be like, play a game, beard whore. But they y'all took to it like right away. And this was like pre PewDiePie stuff. But when
For
I was
sure.
first getting started, man, every time I would go live, top five, man. So people really embraced me here.
When did you
So
switch to DLive?
that was about 6 months ago. So
Okay. So beginning of 2019.
Just about, yeah.
And what brought you to DLive? How did you find it?
Well, actually, so I was coming towards the end of stuff with Twitch, and I was just like, I don't even know. Well, let me back up a little bit. So I went to TwitchCon San Jose,
Hmm.
which was the most recent one, and felt completely disconnected from everything. Normally, when I go to events, it's like, I'm seeing friends. I feel a part of what's going on. Like, this is my vibe. This is my thing. And it felt like I was just on another vacation pretty much. Felt completely disconnected to Twitch stuff. And I was like, hey, maybe it's just time for me to stop.
Hmm.
And it was actually Nicole that was like, hey, what about, she had seen a Reddit post about DLive, and she was like, hey, what about DLive XYZ, telling me things about it. And in my head, I was like, all right, this is just another, it's another, I still had the brand loyalty in my head to Twitch, that Twitch is the end all be all if you
Hmm.
want to stream. So initially, like, I kind of just blew it off. I'm like, oh, it's just another, like, you know, another streaming site that's going to be here and gone kind of thing. And she started explaining more about it, as far as like the blockchain and um, kind of newer things that they were bringing to streaming. Um, and so that got me to at least come over and make an account, start talking to people here. And so it was about a week and some change before I even tried to stream over here. I was like, let me just get around, get a pulse of the community, see if it's something that is for me. And people embraced me right away. Like, it
Hmm.
was like day 2 and 3, and I was returning to streams, and people were like, "Yo, what's up, man? Blah blah blah. When are you streaming? When's your first stream?" And you know, I had I had never experienced that. Being the new guy on a platform.
Hmm.
Um, my experience was more so, all right, get in this thing and make a name for yourself.
Hmm.
And on DLive, and DLive still holds this to this day, it was just a very welcoming, genuinely welcoming community.
Hmm.
Um, and that's what got me to fire up a stream here. And
Nice.
those same people that were saying they were excited for me to do my first stream over here showed up. So that, that also let me know that it wasn't just words.
Right, right. So when you started streaming on, I mean, we'll call it the dirty purple. Uh,
All right.
now,
The T word.
when you started streaming on Twitch, what name did you start streaming under?
So I was under DrooYoo. So
DrooYoo. So
yeah,
I
so I had
think
gone under DrooYoo up until recently now. So I think yesterday was like my 4th day streaming under Sage. So
right, because I met you, I don't know, 6 months ago, right? Basically, the kind of when you first got to DLive, same time I was getting to DLive,
yeah,
and I've always known you as Drew.
yeah.
And so DrooYoo, DrooYoo, you're the bearded
Hmm.
god of DLive.
The base beard guy.
Ever,
Still the base beard guy.
yeah, yeah. Still. If you want to, actually, do you want to show off the beard? Get a little
Okay.
side profile
Little
going there.
side profile.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. See, that's
TOS.
yeah,
Can we do that?
yeah,
Do I
yeah,
need
yeah.
do I need a beard bonnet to not get X tagged here? Or?
No, no, no. It's good. It's good. We love it. Um, how long you been working on that beard? Just curious.
um, I mean, I wouldn't really call it work. This is just like a token of my extreme laziness. Um,
Okay, okay, okay.
it's been about, I think we're rounding out 4 years. August will be 4 years.
Wow, no shit.
So,
Okay,
um,
okay.
the way that came about, like growing a beard, um, was pretty much one of my best friends was just like, Drew, you hate shaving. Just grow a beard. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Fuck it. And so this is almost 4 years of fuck it.
Nice. All right. Well, this is 6 months. I started in January. Like
That's pretty good, man.
I'm 40. I also hate shaving, and and I thought I'm
Yeah,
gonna let it
32
go.
here, bud. So I'm right behind you.
32. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have fully intend to just let it grow and see. I was surprised by like this huge white stripe right in the middle, but
Yeah, I'm getting one of those. You see this right here?
you
It's
got just the
I
tiniest.
got
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
just this is my small piece of wisdom that I have.
A little bit of gray. All right. Well,
Right.
so in terms of wisdom, I've got you in spades, but in terms of youth, you've got the size.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So before we get too far gone on the bearded dudes with hats, this is definitely going to turn into an extreme if we keep it up.
Right. This just in, Drew's size.
Joe quality. Yeah. Drew. All right. So like we were saying, I've always known you as DrooYoo.
Yeah.
You've been known as DrooYoo for years. So
Yeah.
it's got to be a big decision to change your name.
Right.
What happened
Um
and what brought about the change?
what it was for me, um, is I needed like a true fresh start. And that's why I came to DLive too, is I was just like, you know what, I still want to stream. Um, but I want something new. And I felt like in my head, Andrew is my name. So when people call me Drew, it's not a foreign thing. You know, if people call me Drew or Sage or whatever, I'm fine. I'm fine with that. Like I'm good. I'm good with Drew, and I'm comfortable with certain people calling. Like if you've known me for a while, like if you've known me before Sage and you call me Drew, I'm good. I'm good with that. That's comfortable for me. You know. Um, but as far as the name change, really for me, it was more of a mental thing. Like I realized because I did really well on Twitch. Not to like toot my own horn, but like I was one of the few like 30 to 40 unpartnered, 30 to 40 concurrent viewer unpartnered streamers that was making like a full-time income. This was pre Amazon. So uh and I noticed in coming to DLive that under that name, just for me mentally, I was trying to recreate certain things with that. Like I would remember, like, oh, I remember when I used to do this, blah blah blah, or when that happened, and versus it just being like a nice, like nostalgic thought. Um, it it was me constantly trying to live up to things that I did before versus just doing whatever streaming is for me right now. Um, so
Well, what do you mean? Like was it getting you depressed or down on D Live that your numbers weren't matching previous Twitch numbers? Is that what you mean?
it wasn't even necessarily a numbers thing. Like that was a little bit a part of it. Like even now, um, you know, if I were to go like stream on Twitch for a little while, I would have like a better numbers than I do over here. It wasn't even really a numbers thing. It was more so just um like a vibe thing. Like I really enjoyed streaming at certain points in my career over there. Um and I was trying to still live in those memories versus create new ones, if that makes sense.
Sure, sure. Do you find that your focus, what you're streaming has changed?
Um, I would say that my focus has always been like communicating with people. Like the people have always been my main focus, but I feel like I'm back to that focus of when I started like originally.
Hmm.
You know, and you know, I kind of veered off of that path a little bit when I was doing really well on Twitch and kind of lost sight of a lot of that. Like I was still about my people,
Mhm.
but my motivations, you know, were off a little bit. And then when the Amazon acquisition came in and Twitch started yoinking 50% of my income, um, you know, it rocked me pretty good. So
Yeah, and I've had a few Twitch streamers talk about that, but not really in depth. When Amazon took Twitch over, what were the noticeable changes? Like what
um
happened to Twitch?
my perspective on it is the streamers that were doing really well, like the most popular ones, it skyrocketed them even more. You know, those that were able to like adapt and go to the kind of Hollywood corporate environment that Twitch is now, and this is my opinion, by the way,
Sure.
did great, you know. Or if they were already doing phenomenal, it was great for them. For a streamer like me, that was like, you know, still a fairly like small streamer, but had really good support. Um, like it basically cut everything in half.
Hmm.
The views were cut in half. You know, you could have 100 plus subs, which I used to use Game Wisp for subs. I don't know if you remember Game Wisp or not. This was pre the affiliate program.
Hmm.
Their cut was small, so 100 subs was a good chunk of change on top of donations.
Hmm.
So, but with the subs and the bit system coming in, I found that more people were like, well, what do I do? Do I donate? Do I sub? Do I do bits? Like, I think people had the assumption that subbing and donating via bits was the best way to support a streamer. When it really wasn't. They were taking 50% of that income. You had to make a certain amount in order to get a payout, and you would see that payout 2 months out. Now, eventually you would get on like, you know, you would kind of get on the payroll per se, where it'd be like 2 months, your first payment,
Hmm.
and then you'd be getting paid every month. But me receiving what I made today 2 months later made it incredibly hard to plan for anything financially, including stream stuff.
Sure.
So whereas before, um, my income was right there, right now, and whatever percentage Streamlabs was taking was out of it, I was able to maneuver that much easier than it was for me to go, okay, I'm going to see this 2 months later. So I was essentially having to like plan stuff out for, you know, 2 months out, you know, and go on my dashboard and try to figure it all out and go, okay, this, it's this pay period that I'm going to see. It was just a mess. And also getting 50% less. It was kind of like if you're working a job and they got acquired by a bigger company, and that company goes, you know what, now we're going to pay you guys 50% less, but do the same amount of work,
Yeah.
if not more, because you're trying to sustain what you had before.
Yeah, and I've
So
I've heard similar complaints about Facebook too, in terms of
yeah.
live streaming and trying to get paid, and it being months out. Plus, you have to hit that minimum threshold. You know, like here on DLive, you can cash out several times a month,
Right.
right? And it's the donations that you receive them immediately, which I think is amazing, because then you could turn back around and give them to the next
Yeah,
streamer.
I love that. I love that. Like that was a huge thing that I missed too, is because when I was doing well over there, and I was receiving donations from Streamlabs, I could turn right back around after my stream and go, donate to a bunch of streamers. And that was something that I missed too, because I want to support the community that I eat from, you know?
Sure.
And it got, 50% gone. It was basically non-existent. So it created this whole thing of like, I'm now not making enough to turn around and donate. I'm not even receiving that right away. So from streamers to other streamers, where we had a community of like supporting each other, including financially, that was gone. And it kind of caused everybody to go into their little hole and go, my stream is my stream, and I need to work just this. And a lot of people just, the community aspect of Twitch, at least, the parts that I were of, like, diminished in that way, because everyone, instead of being like outward focused on, everybody eats kind of turned in, and it became very like dog eat dog. So
Yeah, and I've actually heard that from a number of my guests that have switched over from Twitch to DLive, and even with Mixer, Facebook, all of them. The I think the number one thing I hear from people like yourself who have been streaming for years is the DLive community and family that you interact with on a day-to-day basis is much friendlier, much more. It's a much more fulfilling experience with the audience here uh,
yeah.
than on, say, Twitch.
Yeah, no, so like a lot of people have like I've heard a lot of people's experiences, wow, this feels like what Twitch used to be.
Mm,
Um Whereas I would say, like, I totally understand what people are saying with that. Um, and it is, but I think with the D Live, there's that and it holds its own. It's not like, oh, D Live just replicated this old experience that you could find on Twitch. Or people would say, oh, D Live is the better Twitch. And for me, I'm like, no, like D Live is D Live, you know? And that's what I loved about it too is I was like, man, this site holds its own and it has its own vibe and its own benefits. It's not like this competitor of Twitch, you know. It's a totally new spin on streaming, like how to, especially with the blockchain. Um, and that's something that I love is that like even down to the currency of the website, it's a community-based thing. Like, I
sure.
feel like it's one of those things where everybody shares in the pot. Even the cut that's taken from your donations goes back in the pot. You know what I mean? With the chess system, um, viewers are able to receive far more of the site's currency than, watching an ad for a minute and a half and,
Hmm.
you know, getting, 10 Lino or whatever.
Yeah, and I
Um,
had a guest on that had an interesting proposition. Wondered what you think about it.
sure.
There, the chest, the treasure chest here on DLive has gone through many transitions since we first seen it, and there's been some humming and hawing about it.
Right.
Um, but I had a guest say, "Well, I've got an idea that might actually fix the chest. If have the viewer." He was talking about ways to monetize DLive that didn't necessarily change it too much, right? We all
Okay.
like the ad-free environment.
Right.
So he was saying if they want free Lino and they click on the chest, have them play like a mini game, whatever kind of little
Okay.
mini game, and by playing the mini game, they can earn free Lino, and within the mini game, you can add ads.
That
So
would be a cool idea.
yeah, I
I wouldn't
thought
even be upset if there was an option similar to Twitch, to where, maybe we're not getting ads as soon as we're booting up streams, but um we can click on something to go, hey, view an ad, um for, you know, so essentially it would kind of be like how the chess system used to be, where it'd be like after a little while you could build it up and you'll get like 1 to 4 Lino. Maybe
mhm.
instead of that, you could watch an ad and kind of similar to how Twitch does, you can get this amount to this amount of Lino, um from watching an ad. I'd be comfortable with that. Um so But yeah, I
Well,
don't know. I don't know how, I don't know. I don't really have any ideas as far as like how to implement ads to DLive, but I think it's kind of one of those inevitable things with being a website on the internet. So I'm
yeah.
not opposed to it coming. It might be, even if we do get ads at the beginning of streams,
Mhm.
um, and it might be annoying. It's kind of a necessary evil per se.
Well, and I think that would get into things well above my head, which is right now Lino is or Lino, however people pronounce it. I pronounce Lino is a private currency used on DLive. You buy it with your current, with your currency, but it is a private currency. It's not currently a cryptocurrency.
Right.
because it's at a locked price point of 1.2 pennies per Lino. So I think once if it goes to mainnet and becomes a cryptocurrency, then that price is allowed to fluctuate. You
Right.
could run into issues with, like someone in chat said, was talking about, well, how do we make sure that it's not gambling, right? How do we make sure it's
Right.
not being done to violate? Like the United States has very strict laws on online gambling,
Right.
and technically not allowed, right? And they're finding ways to get around it. But um, has that, like, you, as somebody who has made money, they're living from streaming, do you think that DLive provides that opportunity with the current Lino the way it's set up? Or do you think it would need to go to a cryptocurrency to actually provide money? Like,
I've I I like the system now just because it's predictable. You know, I know how much it's worth. Um, but I'm about the coin growing as well. You know, it's a kind of an opportunity either way. Like it could, with it being able to go up or down, you know, at any point. Again, I don't know how cryptocurrency works. I'm kind of just learning what the blockchain's about. But so it is an opportunity for us to make more and have a more sustainable income, but at the same time, it is a bit of a risk. And that's kind of what I tell people in coming to DLive is, you know, there with blockchain and crypto, there is a bit of a risk, you know. People want to slide more into the area of it's a scam, you know, and I'm like, no, but yes, there is a risk in receiving your income as a blockchain or cryptocurrency, whatever you want to call it. Um, but yeah, I don't know because it could really go either way. I think right now you definitely could, um, you know, gain a sustainable income from Lino. Um, but I'm not too educated on crypto and how like new coins do and how those develop. So that would kind of be a whole nother thing. So I'm not really sure.
well, from what I've heard, and again, there's plenty of smarter people on this than me. Some of them currently in chat, actually. Um, I don't think Lino needs to go to cryptocurrency. It's worth 1.2 pennies. We know what it's worth when we buy it. We know what it's worth when
Right.
we donate it. You know how much money you're making when you receive it, right? And if, and this is my understanding, again, could be completely wrong, but if they do choose to go to a mainnet and make it a cryptocurrency, the Lino we have locked in right now is going to have to be cashed out. They can't roll over a private token into a crypto.
Huh.
You have to cash out and rebuy back in. So this notion that those of us that had invested in Lino already and locked it in have a jump on the market if it goes to mainnet, I think that's incorrect. I don't
Okay.
think we do. So for me, it works. It works right now, just like it is.
Yeah, I like it how it is right now. I have no like if DLive eventually said, "Hey, we see that the best way to do this is to just, you know, keep it in testnet or not fluctuate it at all." I'm fine with that. And us kind of work it within our own, you know, blockchain
Mm-hmm.
and just, you know, I'm okay with that. But again, you know, the opportunity of it being worth more is, you know, of course I'm good with that idea too.
Sure, sure.
Um, but that's me. That's me not knowing all the ins and outs of crypto. It would be more comfortable for me at this point in my knowledge of like crypto and all that. Um, but I guess we'll see. But I wouldn't be mad if they said, "Hey, we're just going to keep it within, you know,
Sure.
how we
Yeah,
have it
and
now."
they could, you know, they could even open up Lino to other platforms and other uses and still keep it at a fixed price point, in my opinion.
I think that would be dope, man. Like you know, that's something I would like to see too, to where things can be purchased directly. with Lino. You know, we don't have to cash it out to USD. We can go, even if it's just simply like the DLive store, we can go boom, use
Right.
X amount of Lino to get, you know, a t-shirt or something. So
And I've seen some artists already use it. I don't know if peer to peer would be the right term, but an artist making a piece of art on stream and people bidding on it with Lino and buying it with Lino. I've seen that happen.
now, and that's kind of like I like that too, because that makes it even more of a community based thing. You know, we're kind of in our own little zone with our own currency
Hmm.
and purchasing things from each other through that same currency. I think that's cool. You know, I would like to, you know, I would still like to have like stores and other things except Lino as currency,
Hmm.
but even to just have that in our community, I think is dope. I've never, you know, I haven't really seen that happen on any other sites, you know, where they're using their currency to, you know, to purchase like different things from each other.
Yeah, yeah. So we kind of skipped over it a little bit, and I'd like to go back.
Sure.
You chose a new streaming name, Sage, recently,
Hmm.
and we know why you did it. But why did you choose the name Sage specifically?
Um, it really wasn't anything all too crazy. Like I was just kind of looking up the definition of a bunch of different words and um words that were similar to other words and was just kind of flipping through a bunch of different stuff and then I found Sage and I liked the sound of it and I liked the definition of it and I felt like it was fitting for me, you know? Like I wasn't really sure if anybody was going to take to it and people may never take to it, but it was one of those things that I just felt like it really fit me. And in choosing to change a name that I went by on pretty much anything creative for over a decade and to in a moment be able to change that to what I wanted, um, felt like in a way that I was kind of gaining back control of what I wanted to do with my stream, you know. So,
Well, in
uh,
Sage is I believe it's Latin, but it lends itself to like um, wise, but like healthy, um, not just like intelligent and helpful that way, but also a healthy, sound body and mind. Right, a sage is a
yeah,
teacher and a helper, and I found that a lot of your streams, you seem to be very concerned about your viewers, right? Your main
yeah,
concern seems
yeah,
to
for
be
sure.
that communication. So how did that
Yeah.
develop?
Um, well, what do you mean?
Like
Like,
your streaming style, the conversation, what you
oh,
do.
how did I get in? I don't know. I think because my initial intent with streaming was to have a community for me and others that it's just I don't know that's just always been my style. Like I never really approach things and go, okay, what can I only get out of this for me? And it just developed like that because it's just who I am. Like I want people to feel like when they come to my stream, like that they're not just coming to like watch me or be like, oh, Drew's the best ever. You know, I know there's some streams where it's just like viewers don't interact with each other. It's really just a bunch of individual people essentially worshiping the big head, you know?
Hmm.
And I don't like that. I want to have a stream where, you know, it's like the cheers effect or whatever, you know, everybody
Right.
knows your name, you know, everybody
Yeah,
knows
yeah.
your name when you come around. I want to know, you know, hey, how's your new job going? Or how are the kids? Da da da. Like I genuinely want to know that stuff. And I want people to feel like they have a bit of ownership in my stream, you know, like that they feel like their input counts. They feel like they matter there versus everybody coming and going, hey, let's build up this one guy. I would much rather have people come and build the community, you know, which is gone by. We've been the fan bam for the longest time. So my community name has never changed. It's always been fan bam. And that came, I just like it just randomly started calling people Fan Bam back in the day when they followed, and I've just kept that. So I don't know. I like the family atmosphere of things. I think people, whether they have a lot of money to give or nothing, or all they have to submit to a stream is themselves, I want those people to feel valuable, just as valuable as the people that can throw hundreds of dollars at me. So
Right, and I know what you mean because like my own community now has gotten to a point where when people join chat, everybody else in chat says hi to them, right? And
yeah,
they start talking amongst themselves because they've become friends over the last
right.
6 months. So it works. It's definitely. I mean, it's what drew me to DLive in the first place was was the interaction amongst the community and the
Yeah.
viewers. And so since you've been on DLive, have you just been chatting? Have you been doing some gaming? Like, what's your focus on DLive?
I've been doing mostly chatting streams, but I get gaming streams in there every now and again. I've been trying to do it more. Um it seems people prefer for me to do chatting streams, but I get the gaming in there too. So I want to get more of the gaming streams in there just so people are people are used to me doing that.
What type of games do you enjoy?
I was on FPS games pretty heavily. Like I was a big like Call of Duty player for a while. Now I'm kind of veering more back into the like single player
Hmm.
like RPG type stuff. That's really where I got my start with gaming before I got into like Halo and Call of Duty was like Final Fantasy, Chrono Trigger, those kind of games, man. So I'm kind of like moving back into that a little bit. Um, but I still do enjoy my shooters, man.
I mean, I've been playing a lot of simulators lately, and with these fireside chats, I always like to ask, what are your favorite games? What do you like to play? And I've had enough people tell me that I need to play Skyrim, the Elder Scrolls
Yeah.
Skyrim, and Fallout New Vegas. So I just went and bought both of those games, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of stepping back a little bit, but I've been told that it's need to know information if if I want to be a contender.
Skyrim I played quite a bit of. Um I really like Skyrim. I played that back on the 360, and then my save crashed and I couldn't do any quests on it. So and then I just I just could never get back into it after that point. But I
Well,
still
no,
like Skyrim.
I got Elder Scrolls Online, and I played it like 2 days on stream and then quit because it just felt like a grinding quest kind of thing. It
Yeah, a
didn't
lot of
really.
those MMOs are that. I've tried to get into ESO a bunch just because I do like Bethesda games, but I don't know. I think it's one of those things where if you have it's like any other MMO. If you have a community of people that you play with consistently, then that kind of makes the grindy aspect of it
Hmm,
more fun than you
sure.
just kind of running around and quest here, quest here. Um, but I think the player base that enjoys it now has been building that kind of thing since the start of the game. So coming in fresh by yourself, new to it, is probably tough. So
Yeah, definitely. But I've noticed, like DLive has been changing its software, its interface, the hardware. It's been changing the requirements for partner, verified partner, global partner.
mhm,
Right? There's now an affiliate option. So,
yeah.
so one thing that I'm taking into consideration now is the concurrent users, the CCU. How many people are
Mhm.
in your channel viewing? I used to never look at that ever. I didn't feel it was important, and I tried
Yeah.
to give people 100%, whether it was just a couple of us or a lot of us hanging out, right?
Yeah.
But now with the requirements going up to maintain certain viewer requirements, it's not that I'm doing things differently in terms of how I stream, but I've started to play I've noticed when I play Railroad Tycoon, nobody cares. There's
Yeah, yeah.
there'll be two people in there. They'll both be sleeping, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Right.
that happened. That's a true story, right? So even though I really enjoy Railroad Tycoon, I'm not going to stream it anymore because it doesn't meet the requirements. Like 15 viewers minimum.
Right, right, right.
So with that in mind, like, do you think it's going to affect how you approach streaming on DLive?
Um in a way, I mean, I think I honestly think it's good to be aware of what works for streaming and what doesn't work for streaming, like period. Because when I stream, I want to have people to interact with.
Sure.
Like I'll stream a game or I turn on a stream because I want to interact with the chat. If I notice certain games just are not hitting for people, I'll keep that as an off-stream game.
Hmm.
But I also think it's I've been on a big kick for people where it's just like you got to find time to game off stream.
Hmm.
Gamer before streamer, because at one point for me, I totally let streaming destroy gaming for me, where it became so much of a
Oh.
job that I would come sit at this desk to just casually play something and it felt like work. And I was like, nah, I can't. Um, so I think it's good to have those off-stream games. Like I've tried to stream a couple of games too that I've just been like, you know what, this should just be off stream for my own entertainment. But I think that's healthy though. I don't think it's good to only be gaming on stream, because what it did for me was every single game purchase or something that was supposed to be entertaining for me, I was thinking like, can I stream this though? You know?
Mm.
And I wasn't, I kind of lost that ability to like dive into a game and just enjoy it for myself, my entertainment value in gaming. And I think that's important to have. Like when you're on stream playing a game, people want to see you having fun with it or engaged with that too, along with being engaged with them. And I just think there's certain games, and I don't know what it is or what the magic is behind certain games, but it's really easy to yourself engage with the game while you're streaming and chat's engaging with the game, and
Hmm.
so everybody, so it's not just like this passive I'm watching this guy play a game. But yeah, game off stream, always have time to game off stream, because that helped me a lot in coming on stream and playing stuff and people, going, oh, this guy, is actually having fun.
I mean, that's a good point because I actually didn't, until you said it, I didn't realize that I've quit gaming unless I'm streaming.
Yeah,
I
I did
didn't
too.
even realize I had done that actually.
So
That's something to think about because, like, there are games that I've stopped playing because we streamed them for a while and then people were kind of getting bored of them, wanting me to move
right,
on. Even though I enjoyed the game, I haven't played it since. So I think that's a great point. Like, I'm gonna just go back and play some of the games I've stopped streaming, like you said, just for the enjoyment of gaming.
right,
Keep it from turning into too much of a work type thing. Because when we talk about streaming, a part of this show that we like to get into is for people who have just started streaming or considering streaming. We try to give them helpful tips and tricks like do this, it'll help. Don't do that, it'll hurt. And
right.
so I think that's a great tip to throw into a segment like that, which is don't forget about your love of gaming. Don't let streaming
Right.
make it feel like work.
Yeah, that's a super important thing, man. Because if you're doing any level of even just any level of entertainment, you have to have that quiet time per not even just gaming, you have to have that quiet time to yourself to fill back up per se.
Hmm.
It's when you're constantly just slamming yourself into streaming and throwing all of your energy out there, you got to have something that builds that back up so you have something to give. And what I notice is like a lot of streamers are running on empty, because they don't have that time, you know. Um, and that was me, but now I've been more intentional about um I need time for me too, and if that I throw gaming into that mix too, because like we were saying, I don't want to lose my love for gaming um over making it work,
Mm.
so
So I've noticed, you were streaming a lot in the beginning when you were first on DLive. There's
mhm.
been some holes, just times
Yeah.
where you've disappeared for a while. I'm just wondering how much of that you'd be willing to talk about on stream,
Oh, we could talk about it, man. We could
because
talk about it.
basically I don't like throwing any of my guests under the bus or anything.
Right, right.
But a recurring theme that we've had on this show is a lot of streamers and a lot of people, a lot of viewers of live streaming tend to struggle with some sort of mental illness,
Right,
right? And a lot of us, it has to do with depression, social anxiety,
right,
things of that nature, right? And we find it easier to have an interaction like this, over the
right.
computer versus face to face. Um,
Yeah,
I've had some struggles with depression for sure, with social anxiety for sure. As I get older, I feel like it's it's becoming more manageable. I understand it better. I know how to
yeah.
keep from getting too bad off. But if you wouldn't mind talking about it, I know
Sure.
you had an issue recently where you had some time in the hospital. You seemed
Right.
better when you came back.
Yeah.
But go ahead. However much of that you'd like to get into.
Yeah, sure. I mean, for me, I'm pretty candid about all of it just because I know it's still kind of like something that people want to hide and be ashamed about. And I want people to feel like they can openly talk about their stuff too. I mean, basically what it was for me is a lot of a lot of me trying to, like what I was saying before, a lot of me trying to give myself out and energy that I didn't have, and just hitting these points where I just didn't have, I didn't have anything to give. So that, among some other things, put me in the psych ward a couple of times, because depression and anxiety is something that I struggle with. Um, so those were really those break periods, and also just kind of coming to changing my name and stuff like that. It was a lot of that mental struggle of I'm not living up to what I used to be.
Hmm.
And I realized that that wasn't even really the case, like I'm kind of coming to going like I don't need to live up to that anymore. I don't need to hit that bar because I'm doing something completely different now. And that was also a lot of with the name change too for me mentally, was just like I can't keep trying to be DrooYoo circa 2016.
Hmm.
I got to be me now.
Sure.
Um and but yeah, I've definitely gotten to some dark places, and I wouldn't say that it was all because of streaming. Um but it's definitely been a struggle, and I think a lot of what that is we talk to screens all day, you know? We're getting what I call social interaction, like light, or
Right.
a a how can I explain this?
Well, you're getting the intellectual side of the stimulation, but you're not actually getting the energy exchange that you would standing in front of another person.
Right. And I explain this to people. I love the internet. I love the fact that me and you can be in two different places and connect like this.
Hmm.
But it will, and there is, we're on video and stuff like that. So that is another aspect, but nothing will replace if we were to actually like sit down together and have a conversation,
Sure.
you know.
Sure.
This gives a bit of it, a bit more than even with streaming, but like in talking to screens, what I experienced a lot was it was kind of a one-way street, you know? I'm
Mm.
giving out all of this energy and I'm getting this illusion of, wow, there's all these people interacting with me, right? So I'm getting that fulfillment in the moment, and then as soon as the camera goes off, I'm alone.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that would drive me into those moments of depression, or um because it's like I'm getting almost a tease of social interaction only to go right back to where I was before. So, and that's been something that I've been trying to focus on in the off stream
Mm.
time too, is really developing my life and having a boundary and a separation for what goes on out here and what goes on here,
Mm.
you know? And I'm still developing that and learning that, but I'm being more mindful of that, of like, you know what? Certain things are not for everybody. You know, certain aspects of your life are like, I'm used to it just kind of being all out there.
Sure.
Like my life, it's here. But I realize that it's good to have some things that are sacred and special to you
Sure.
that are out here, you
So
know, and that
boundaries,
includes,
have
yeah,
streaming boundaries.
that's also been very good. Like for my mental health, is to just be like, you know what, like there's there's certain aspects of like my relationship with my son. There's certain things and interactions with my son that are going to be between me and him, you know, and that's not, you know, that's not in my head, not to be shared with everyone else. There's going to be certain aspects in my relationship that people aren't going to know about. And before, like I was really used to it being all out there, you know what I mean? Hey,
Mhm.
you know, not that I'm knocking, like, you know, hey, here's a picture of what I'm doing with my son or anything like that, you know, like that's, you know, that's all good and well, but when the urge for everything out here that I'm doing out here aside from the internet is to connect it back over here, I'm not really engaging in that as much as I could be. You know what I mean? When my first thought is,
Oh, I
yo,
see what
this
you're
cool,
saying.
yeah, like, yo, this cool thing's going on. I gotta throw it on Twitter. I gotta share it with Twitter versus just going, I'm here, I'm in the here and now and fully engaged in that moment. I noticed that my thinking was, I've got to share this with the internet. I'm eating something, boom. I'm with my son, boom. You know, this or that happened, boom. And it's okay to, you know, it's okay to share those things, but I realized that I didn't like that my gut reaction to everything was, let me get approval from the internet immediately from it, you
Hmm.
know?
So that, I mean, that's actually a really interesting point, and I think the younger the audience is, the more this would apply. But so many of the younger generations have been trained to constantly seek approval
Right,
through social media, right? Cell phones, tablets. They're being taught on social media to compare themselves and their lives
right,
to everybody else's to see if they measure up. You know, I really like what you're saying, which is about just be in the moment, spend more
right,
time in the moment with the people that you're with, and don't worry about anybody else knowing or caring.
right.
And that's important.
It
It
is, it's super important, man. It's I have seen, and I'll kind of transition into this because I think this is a good thing to talk about since this is a recent thing. Are you familiar with Etika, the YouTuber?
no, not by name.
Okay. Etika was somebody that recently took his life,
Hmm.
was a big YouTuber, and in short, basically said that he just allowed it to consume him like that.
Hmm.
And when I heard his story, and I hadn't really heard of Etika until maybe a month or two before this happened, and this was really recently too. Um, that rocked me to like hear, because he put out like a final video before he took his life and was just expressing how he just let the internet eat him alive, you know? And that rocked me so much because a lot of what he was saying was like how I felt about it, where um instead of having control over your own life and the things that you do, you can kind of allow the internet to steer you in a certain way to where you would rather be edgy, you would rather be content than to be healthy, you know?
Right.
Um, and I feel like in a way that was happening for me, especially back then in streaming, where it was just like I was so hopped up on the approval of the internet that it would cause me to do shit that was out of character, you know? Um, and then you get to this point where your who you are is, is so distorted that everything you're thinking of doing or ways of acting is like, is this content? And it's even similar like to with video games too. Like I was saying, you know, you start going like, well, is this game going to be content for me versus going, oh, I'm buying this game because I'm going to enjoy playing it, you know? So again, it's those boundaries, you know what I mean? Like maybe you won't stream it because it won't be content for you, but you'll still buy it and play it in the off stream because it's for your own personal enjoyment. You
Sure.
know what I mean? And like that's what I started noticing so much was just like this this streaming stuff was steering who I was as a person, and how I was acting. And I was like, this is not good. And it was leading me into unhealthy things for me to do. Um,
Well, since
and
you since that
yeah,
since you've realized that, what is it that you're trying to do differently to help? Because I think there's a lot of people listening that have
yeah.
similar issues and don't know how to control it.
I'm still learning. I'm still learning myself. Like, and I wouldn't even begin to say that I have a full grasp on it yet, but I would just say, remember why you started streaming and remember who you are. That's really important. And stand firm on who you are and don't let anything move you outside of that.
Hmm.
Because if you do, if your thing is looking for constant approval, you will become a person so outside of yourself that you'll get to that place. That was me, where I got to that place where it's just like, I don't like who I am right now. And that's the deal with a lot of like depression and mental health issues and like suicidal thoughts and things like that. You become such a shell of a person that you're like, man, if I just remove myself from the earth, no big deal, because I'm not even, because I don't even feel, um, you know, yeah, the things that you hold as being valuable to yourself are gone, and that's how people get to that place where it's just like, man, I could be gone and it wouldn't matter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean,
So,
I haven't really talked about this too much on stream, but I went through a period in my life where I was extremely suicidal, and
no,
I had to remove myself completely from the internet, from the phone, from television, everything. And that's actually when I moved to Hawaii to start getting my mental health back. And the
yeah,
way I got my physical and mental health back was eating good food, like fresh food that was just grown, and spending time outside in the sunshine, spending more time with other human beings face to face, having real life interactions. And that I started to find who I was again.
Yeah.
who I used to be, who I've forgotten about. And I liked laughing. I liked being involved socially with people.
Yeah.
Um, I like being out in the sunshine. And I had
Yeah.
to get back to that. But it took completely removing myself. I stopped watching television in 2011, and I've
Yeah.
never gotten a television again. It's been very helpful for me. So I noticed even since I started streaming here on DLive, I started on March 1st and I streamed for 112 days or 113 days straight. And I realized it was bad. I could
Yeah.
already see it was bad for me to do that every day in and day out, and make that my life. So I had to start taking days off. I volunteer in the community now. I go help people with my
That's awesome.
my truck and stuff. Just try to plug back into reality, what I would like to
Yeah.
call
Yeah.
life. But since you've had these recent issues, like you said, with being in the hospital, what type of
Uh-huh.
things are you actually doing different on a daily basis that is helping you come around?
Um, I gotta think about that. Like,
Because I can see a difference in you. Like, as your friend, I can
yeah.
tell you, I can see that you seem better now. Like, not
Oh yeah.
not fixed or whatever, but like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you're coming around. I can clearly see a difference.
I I think part of it for me right now is I guess me having that realization that I'm the one that's in control
Mm,
of my life, and taking back control of certain things that got out of control, um, has been what I've been actively doing. I mean, it hasn't been perfect by any means, but I think the realization that like I can choose what I want to do, and whether that is as somebody that constantly got affirmation from the internet on everything, I realized that I can choose things for me, and my own personal enjoyment, even if it's not the popular thing, you
mm,
know?
sure.
Um, and I apply that to streaming too, to where I feel more free, and part of that is really me, you know. I'm very candid, crass, and I do, like part of me is like the edgy or whatever that the internet likes or whatever. So, um, and not saying that I'm just completely changed as a person, and I'm reformed or anything like that, but um I think it's just more and more realizing what I have control over, and going, yo, if this doesn't make me happy, then it's gone.
I like that. Well, the
So
fact that you're mindful of that now, I think, is going to go a long way.
yeah.
Right? Like, is this good for me as a human being? Right? Not, is this good for me as a streamer or a social media
Right.
person, but just as a human being. Am I taking care of myself? You know.
Right.
So you mentioned earlier you have a son.
Hmm.
How old's your son?
He's 8.
He's 8, and I've
Yeah.
seen him on screen a few times in the past,
Yeah.
not so much recently.
Yeah.
Is Have you changed how much exposure that you're giving him to streaming?
Yeah, definitely. Like that was something that I thought about too. As much as I love streaming with him, and as much as he like loves streaming, um, and I talked with his mother about this too. I'm not currently with his mom, so it's like a co-parenting situation about like him being on stream or videos and stuff like that. Um, and I decided that that was something that I more so wanted to keep private. Not just because there's weirdos on the internet or whatever. That is part of, but also to protect him. His mind right now is developing, and he's growing up, and he's understanding a lot more. And it's my job as his father to groom that and protect that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, so I realized he's not just a baby sitting on my knee playing Minecraft with me anymore. He's a boy now. So Um, and I don't knock anybody that streams with their kids or anything like that. That's your decision. I'm not saying that's unsafe or whatever. It's it's really just a decision for me, between me and his mother. But um, it's been good. It's
Well,
been nice to kind of keep that relationship with him more of I realize I'm more engaged with him, kind of like what I was saying before, versus always like, oh, this is a cool moment, let me throw this on the internet, versus just sharing those moments with him and having it be that.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could see this. I mean, I'm a father as well, and I've never streamed with my kids, but I've had my kids watch my stream and be in the chat, and hang out.
Mhm.
And that's kind of fun because we have a distance, right? They live with
Right.
their mom part of the time, with me part of the time. So when they're not with me, I find it to be a fun way to still get to interact with them,
Yeah.
especially because a couple of their uncles will be in chat. My mom will be in chat, so it's kind of like a family thing at that point.
Yeah.
But once they're actually standing next to me, the last thing I want to do is turn on a computer, right?
Right.
I
Right.
want to go do something. I want to go spend time with them. Because streaming, even if you do it well, streaming takes a lot of energy and focus,
Oh yeah.
right? Even if you're
Mhm.
good at it, you still have to run, OBS. You still have to run your chat, the game, whatever it is that you're into. So, like you said, we still can't give them full attention, if we're trying to stream at the same time.
Right.
So, do you think your son has noticed a difference in your demeanor and how you're doing? I mean, has he
Um.
talked to you about it?
No. But I do notice like changes in him more of on like a subconscious. Like I don't think he would realize. I still think he's too like young to really realize that change, but I see like
Sure.
the effects in him are good
Hmm.
from doing that. So, and it's been really recent too that I've decided that I wasn't going to have him have as much exposure with the internet. So,
Hmm. That's it. I think all parents right now, they're having to do that same dance. Like, how we can't keep the phones out of our kids' hands anymore, right? We
right.
we can't keep them away from technology anymore. It's
Right.
literally everywhere. So, like when I was a kid, there weren't cell phones and home computers and tablets and laptops and cell phones, and I mean none of that existed.
Yeah.
It's been interesting as an adult too. I don't know if this is the right way to say it, but I know better. I know to not walk around with my phone like this in my face all the time.
Yeah.
I know better. And yet, if I try, like some things I'm doing to try to be better about it, I turn my phone off when I go to lay down in the bed. I always turn my phone off, completely off.
Yeah.
So I'm not tempted to grab it and keep checking. So I'm not exposed to the radiation that the phones are putting out through the night,
Yeah.
right? So I'm not woken up by the light or sounds. But I find if I'm awake and I turn my phone off and leave the house without my phone, I'm still panicky. I still like checking my pockets and looking, where's my
Right.
phone? And
I think about that a lot. Like there was one day if you weren't at the house, there was no way of being contacted. I'm like,
yeah,
I was a kid then, but I was like, how was it that I ever lived
you had to
with
carry quarters and you hit up a payphone.
that and like you'd come home and get in contact with those people when they left messages on your answering machine or whatever. If you wanted to go to a friend's house, you know what I mean? You'd have to, hey, I'm coming over.
Yeah.
Like it was just, and then you went outside to play, like
Well,
now
back in the
you can
day,
just
if you
hop
want,
on the internet and
right?
play with your friends or whatever.
I mean, it used to be when you wanted to know where your friends were, you jumped on your bike, rode around the neighborhood, and the yard that all the bikes were piled in, that's whose
Right,
house they were at.
right. Yeah, and it's just like I kind of miss it in a way. Like I'm appreciative of technology because it lets us do what we're doing right now.
Sure.
But like, like back in the day, if you wanted, you wanted to see what was up, you just go outside,
Right.
see if anyone was outside playing basketball, and then guess what? If you wanted to go play basketball with them,
Dude,
you go, you just go.
you just
You
blew
know?
the kids' minds in here that are under 20. You're like, if you want
Right.
to know what's up, you go outside. They're like, I don't know what that means.
Right.
Why would that help?
Right. Right. So
Man, that's
it's yeah.
so okay. So now you have this. You've been streaming almost 5 years,
Yeah.
and you're just now kind of getting into this realization that you were losing yourself trying to impress the crowd or keep the numbers up or whatever.
Yeah.
So if somebody's new to streaming right now, they're listening to us and they're like, hey, I got to start streaming, or I want to start streaming. How, obviously this would be a warning, but a warning,
Yeah.
how do you keep from losing yourself as a streamer?
Um
I mean, as much as you've figured out.
for me, go for what you feel is right for you. Don't ride the waves, don't do what's popular. And maybe that's not sound advice for somebody that wants to do this as a career, but I will always go for respect over money. I would rather people respect
Mm,
me than go, wow, that guy that was here and gone for a month, that was really, you know, rode that wave. I I would just say, as far as coming into anything entertainment wise, you gotta have that base where you go, these are lines that I won't cross. This is who I am as a person.
mm,
Keep in mind that you're somebody's streamer, because I feel like when people start streaming, and even beyond starting, that they want to do whatever's going to get a reaction from the crowd, right? They want to do whatever's going to make them popular. And I think it's more important to come on here, be yourself, gain respect from people and a connection with people that will last way longer than hey, that guy rode that wave of popularity for 3 months, made a bunch of money, and now we don't even remember what his name is,
mm,
you know? That's always been the same for me, and I think honestly that's kept me for so long, and the reason why, like, I've had people that have watched me since day 1 that now come watch me on DLive is because I've always gone for that flat out to just be respected at the end of the day.
mhm.
But that would be what I would submit to somebody starting streaming, is just don't try to come in and do the popular thing. Just be consistent with who you are, and you might be something that somebody has never seen before. You could be doing the shit, right? That nobody has seen before, and it's just that moment where somebody discovers you or the world discovers you. I guess that's what I'll say. Incoming into streaming, do what's authentic to you and wait for the world to discover you versus you trying to constantly push your things out there to be discovered by other people,
Hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
that, you know,
well, a lot of the other streaming platforms up till now, up till DLive, it wasn't show up and do anything you want and you'll make it, right? It
yeah,
was you show up, you follow there's a list of things you have to do, there's a list of games you have to play, and if you do
right,
these things, it works.
right.
Where with DLive, it's more like, hey, come cook, come play music, come draw art, come play video
I
games,
love it.
come
Yeah, yeah.
chat, come do whatever you want. Just do it well, do it consistently. There's an audience, right? I love that
Yeah.
about DLive. I never even considered live streaming before I found DLive, and I'd been
Yeah.
watching Twitch for a couple years
Yeah.
because it
I've said
was
I've said that to people too, to where it's like the community is different in that way, to where you can really come and do whatever you want to do. And as long as, you know, you're a decent person, people will find you and watch you. It's not like just Fortnite streamers get the views here, or um that's what I really like about it. Is like I don't feel that pressure to have to do the popular thing or make all these changes to what I want to do in order to get views.
Yeah, and when I first started these shows, we were all saying, don't worry about your viewer count, don't worry about your followers, don't worry about your subscribers. Just get on every day that you're streaming and try to be consistent with who you are and what you're
Yeah.
doing, right? And that will work. Now, as DLive is growing and changing, they're having to up the requirements to be partner.
Right.
Right. So now we are actually going to have to pay a little more attention to
Well, yeah, part of it,
professionalism.
part of the reality of streaming, especially if you want to make it a career, is that there's work. Part of it is work. Part of it is you're gonna have to, and this is me speaking to myself, you're gonna have to get your ass up when you wake up in the morning and get your shit rolling, and not lay in bed for that extra 10 minutes. Get your stuff rolling, get your stream ready and go live. And part of that too, what I've realized is yes, there is work involved, and you're gonna have to put in, if you want to meet those requirements like VP or GP, there is a bit of extra effort you're gonna have to put in. And I'm realizing that for me, like, yeah, there's gonna be like a little bit more that I put into it as far as being more consistent and more intentional about certain content, not in the sense of like everything being super scheduled or thought out, but being more intentional with my streams, because you don't get rewarded just for showing up. If you want to just show up, affiliates right there. Like, honestly,
Right.
if you have a webcam and a pulse, you can get affiliate. Like, people's dogs have 200 follows. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
you can do that, and that's fine. But you need to realize that if your mode with streaming and where you're comfortable with streaming is just showing up, everybody has the same ability to monetize on DLive. There's no, whether you're affiliate, BP, GP, everybody has the same opportunity to get a sub. It's all Lino. Yeah, it's all the same. But if you want to meet those requirements and have those badges and have those things that I believe, they're not going to give you any monetary gain, but it does say, hey, I worked hard for this. It is a trophy in a sense, and you should be proud of it if you've met those requirements.
Well, it actually it does give you a bit of monetary gain, though. Like, the thing that I like the most about Verified Partner is custom stickers. I'll be honest.
Like, okay, true. I do like the sub only stickers. So,
but
I mean, in the sense of being able to, everybody has the same opportunity to earn income here.
Right. But just to be clear, because we're also trying to teach people who don't know anything about DLive.
Right.
If you're a verified partner, you get an extra 10% return on your content bonuses by being a verified partner. And if you're a global partner, you get 30% return on your content bonuses.
Right.
But also you get like, for a global partner, your treasure chest fills up 100% faster than a verified partner. Right? So there's a lot of just little things that seem to add up, right, to make each level a little bit more attractive and worth the effort.
Right. And I think that's the main point there, though, is I think people want the reward before they have put in the effort, And I think that's what, when people are really, really upset, well, now it's this and now I can't have VP. Well, guess what? You gotta work harder. You gotta put in more effort.
Yeah.
Now these things mean something. Now, the site has changed in a way where 200 follows for VP is not, it was an achievement back then because the user
Right.
base was a lot smaller.
Right.
Now those things have to change. And also I think people need to realize if those requirements are too high and they're noticing that it's becoming impossible or the effort is not equaling the reward, they'll adjust it just like anything else. And I feel like this is one of the only sites that'll do that. So
Yeah, and they have been, let constantly since I've been here since January, changed not only the software but also the interface and
yeah.
the requirements, which I don't have any issues with at all. To be honest with you, I
Yeah.
mean, life is change, constant change. So change or
Right.
die, right? But in terms of feeling successful on DLive, I remember when I hit partner, contacting staff and saying, this isn't going to change what I'm doing. I'm still going
Yeah.
to try hard. I'm still going to put out the best product I can. I'm still going to try to find ways to innovate. And they were like, yeah, good. That you're supposed to. It's like
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
hit these levels, you're not done. You're just getting warmed up. So it's interesting people's take on, well, whether I'm a partner or not. Like for me, being a verified partner was like,
Yeah.
oh wow, DLive noticed. They noticed that I'm
Yeah.
trying.
You're right.
So anyway, I got a little bit butthurt when they said they were talking about making everything more difficult, and then
Yeah.
I decided to be an adult about it and just try harder, right?
I think that's something that I've definitely learned. Like in my, and again, I've only been here 6 months, but in my earlier days live, every single change was like, this is going to destroy DLive. This is going to destroy the small little community that I came to. No.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, I got to the point with it where I noticed everything I was complaining about ended up being okay in the end. When the whole PewDiePie thing came, I was like, this is going to turn into PewDiePie Live.
Yes,
Going to destroy the site. They're only going to pay attention to him, and the whole world, and nobody's going to get views. It's all going to be PewDiePie, right? But then he came and he did his first stream, and honestly, his first stream here where he was donating out Lino to people, that was one of the most wholesome streams I've seen on DLive, and I was wrong. So now what I do is instead of publicly being like rah rah rah, I just whatever initially hits me about it, I go to somebody that I'm comfortable talking to about it. I bitch about it for a little bit, and then I go back to being an adult and playing the long game and going, you know
exactly.
what? Every single thing that DLive has brought into, if there's been an issue with it in the long game, they've taken care of it. Just because you're not going to know everything. I don't run DLive. DLive is not my business. So for me to sit here and say like, you don't care because you're not immediately responding fits me right now. How about this one? Hey, I don't get this right now, but because I've seen what you've done in the past with things and how you've adjusted things, I'm going to trust you. It's a trust thing. And I think honestly, to be upset at every change to the site that doesn't fit your like with the chess system. Maybe the old chess system worked really well with your stream, and people were like, "Hey, we're going to be interactive because no matter what, we're getting Lino." Maybe the newer chess system is what works for your streaming style, or maybe it doesn't work with your streaming style. But for me to sit here and think that a website is totally going to bend every single rule and requirement and feature to benefit me solely is arrogant. Flat out.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
look for the long game and trust that staff has your best interest in mind. If you look back 6 months ago and you don't like what's happening now and it's causing you to be uncomfortable and it's causing distrust with you, and even when you speak with people you still feel that way, I would say that maybe moving to another platform would be an option, and or changing your viewpoint on it. If I'm a big like person on get in where you fit in. There's certain people on Twitch right now that are doing fantastic. They love what they're doing. Their community is great. That I would never suggest for them to come over to DLive because that they're where they need to be and they're happy there, you know. But yeah, I mean, all in all, it's just like you got to get in where you fit in, and it can't be this thing of like every time something changes that we all freak out. You know what I mean? If we have something
Right.
like, you know, if we have concerns, obviously, cool, you know, but it's not going to create a healthy community here if everything just blows up the moment something changes, you know what I mean?
Well,
And what I've seen too is a lot of people are like, rah, 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 we want this to change. DLive changes it, and they're like, what the fuck? This sucks. You know what I mean? I'm like, you asked for it. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you this, and I've streamed on multiple platforms before. DLive is the most staff wise, the most caring of keeping its community aspect intact. They could have totally brought PewDiePie to this platform and turned it into the PewDiePie show. We could have been PewDiePie live. You know what I mean?
well, it was for a minute, but
it was initially, yeah,
it came around
because it was just like a landslide of like, you know, his fan base coming over. But when the smoke cleared, it was okay. You know, and
exactly.
every single one of us, whether you like PewDiePie or not, whether you enjoy his content, whether you believe he should be here or not, every one of us benefited from that. Every one of us.
I agree. I mean, two things. One,
no.
I've reached out to staff directly on Discord, which you can do. DLive has a Discord. There's staff and guardians available. They will talk to you. And I've said, hey, what about this? And they always, every time, have responded back with, actually, we like that idea and we're already looking into it, or we like that idea but currently can't implement it because of some software protocol, or right there. But the staff and the employees of DLive are working to make this better and better and better. I mean, I've been here 6 months. I've seen it firsthand repeatedly.
Yeah.
So, you know, like when PewDiePie, when they were talking about bringing him over, I didn't know who that person was. I'd never seen any of their stuff. And all I knew was they were running 24-hour streams with the countdown timer. And at the time, it was my understanding that if you weren't creating unique quality content, then your stream shouldn't be on, right? They didn't want people just running 24-hour streams. And then I saw the company running 24-hour streams. And I was like, well, I don't like that. And I'm going to be vocal about not liking that. But I'm going to be vocal about that quietly through DMs to the very people who could do something about it. I'm not going to bitch about it on social media or bitch about it on stream. You know, and there was some very interesting, receptive conversations back and forth during that time. But like you said, they didn't turn it into the PewDiePie show, right? They used it for what they needed at the time, which was advertising. He increased the user base of DLive something like 64% in 2 months.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like, what they knew what they were doing. They needed more viewers on the platform. It worked. Right? So I really appreciate, like you said, you need to have patience, right? If hindsight's 2020. So just try to remember, guys, if you're on DLive and something changes and you don't like it, just wait. It'll change. It's going to change.
And that's the thing too. What I want to see from it, and this is me like learning things from my own experience with me like doing those things, bitching about it on social media or being way too public about it or not being productive about the change I want to see, you know? Because guess what? If you go out there and you're like rah, 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 and you're this big dick about it, you know what I mean? Like, no, you're not going to be heard. People are just going to be like, wow, that guy's just a jerk, you know? But if you go about it in productive manners, you know what I mean, then stuff really changes on this site. I tell a lot of the newer people here, and I'm still new. I'm only 6 months here, and I'm like, if you would have seen the site 6 months ago and the advancements and the changes and the features that they've added in 6 months, and compared to other websites and how long it takes them to implement features,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of you would be a lot more appreciative of what you have. Because even when I first started back 6 months ago, this site looked very different,
Mm-hmm.
and I've never seen a site that it's every single feature change in rule changes and stuff like that isn't going to apply and benefit everyone. But I've never seen a site work so hard to implement features and TOS rules that covered the majority so well, you know?
Yep.
I've never seen a site like nail it like that.
Well, the thing that I
Um,
really appreciate that DLive has done since I've gotten here is they've given us much more control over our chat as a streamer.
yeah, yeah,
And that's been, that was like the one thing I couldn't control when I first started on DLive was things people were saying in chat, the names, the offensive stuff, right, that could be
yeah,
problematic. We have complete control now. We could time somebody out for 5 minutes. We can delete a comment. We can delete and mute
right.
them permanently from the channel. It's it's been really, really helpful. And that stuff has come because streamers are reaching out to staff and saying, "Hey, what if we had this, it would really help."
Yeah, and think about it this way, like, think about how fast a lot of those features have come out. Like,
Hmm.
I'm talking about for a website. What people want is like, I suggested it, give it to me next week. Which there's a lot that goes in. You got a whole like dev team, or who's ever developing the site that they got to communicate with and code
Hmm.
and things like that. But taking all that into consideration, we get changes really fast on this site. When they see a problem, you may not know this is an important thing here. You may not know every detail. They could be talking right now about how they want to completely change the chess system to be absolutely better. They may be in talks with developers. Just because you don't know the process does not mean that they are not listening and don't care.
Exactly.
That's very important to know, because a lot of people
Yep.
go, I want that. Oh, you're not responding to me? You don't care. Maybe there's things that they just can't talk about, because if DLive released every single piece of information of how they were changing and moving things, and maybe there's things they're discussing that if they really did push it out really fast, it'd be a disaster. So I'm glad. I'm actually happy that I just get to see the results, and I don't know what all is going into it. So I think that's an important thing to hit there, is like, just because you don't know and you're not involved in those decisions doesn't mean that they don't care or they don't listen. So play the long game, be patient. Boom.
Exactly. And you can be involved. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what's cool about DLive is the very nature of this platform is you own your content, right? You get donations immediately. Staff
Right.
is available to you on a daily basis. There's guardians on this site. It's the first time on any streaming platform there's been an all volunteer group that helps moderate the site and keep
Right.
people to the terms of service. There's the one thing that I would caution you guys about if you're looking to start streaming, and like Drew said earlier, Sage, excuse me, um, is you don't quit your day job and then start streaming and expect to pay your bills from the first day you start
Right.
streaming. It's not going to happen. You have to put in the time, the effort. Some people call it the grind. I don't like calling it a grind because that makes it feel unpleasant, makes it
Right.
sound unpleasant. But you have to build an audience. You have to put together something of value. You have, if you're just streaming the same thing everybody else is streaming and saying and doing the same thing everybody else is doing, you're not
Right.
going to stand out and you're not going to be monetarily successful. Um,
Right.
you know, like with Sage and I, that's not been our main focus on this platform, right? In terms of making money, it's
Right.
been more about learning, kind of learning about who we are as human beings and what
Right.
we can offer you guys to help.
I'll say this too. Hopefully it's not segueing too far off to where you're going with that. But it is okay. I've always been a streamer that's been very honest about um the money aspect of it. It's okay. Like obviously money should not be your main focus and drive to what you know the things that you're doing on stream. But in the same token, it is completely okay to desire to be successful financially in streaming.
Mhm.
Um it to like receiving an income from something you love to do is okay. Like I see a lot of this culture of like people feeling like they have to pretend that they don't like donations. And I've never been that way. I've always been like, heck yeah, boy. You know, like hell yeah, I want to make money off of playing video games or just being on here talking to people. You know what I mean? It's not my main drive. I don't look to it and go, hey, I'm a successful streamer because I make money doing this. But I do enjoy making an income off of doing something that's fun for me. And yeah, so
Do you feel
I
like that you could make a full-time living on DLive? And is that your goal at some point?
I I could. I'm currently in the mode of wanting something that's more consistent and stable,
Hmm.
and then I could just make two incomes. Because this stuff, this for me is comfortable for the most part, and it's easy. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I get to pick the times when I do it. So I would love, I'm in the process of kind of deciding a lot of things where I may want to move to, what I may want to do as like a career type
Hmm.
thing. But yeah, I want to have something like an income that's more consistent and stable that I know is going to be there every time and the same amount, blah blah blah, and the same amount of work. And have this. So I would love for this to just be completely like um expendable money. But I do believe that I could make you know, I've I've already proven to myself that I'm able to make a full-time income on this, just kind of winging it. So I feel like on here, it's even more possible because I don't have Daddy Bezos hanging over me, going, oh, nice sub, yoink, let me get
Right,
half of that,
right.
bro. So and also what I've done too, and that's actually been working for me too, is kind of during like working around the pay periods and stuff with DLive. I also have a Streamlabs account if people want to give via PayPal. Um, and I don't know how people feel about that because that doesn't blockchain. Um, but how do I'm curious. I'm gonna ask you a question. How do you feel about um someone using Streamlabs in conjunction with the Lino system?
Well, I know on other streaming websites I've been a part of, it was very common for people to have their PayPal information or Streamlabs or something like that up to receive donations because then you're getting 100% of the donation, say right if they send it say
Right.
PayPal. Um, I I would think that the website like DLive might give them pause because you're not putting 100% of the monetization through the website.
Yeah.
But I think I don't think it's a problem because I think some people don't want to buy Lino. They don't know what it is. They don't understand
Right.
it. And they just want to give you, I've got money in my bank. I want to send some money to your bank. So I think that option should be available for streamers. I don't think there should be a rule against it, which currently I don't think there are any rules
No,
against
no.
it.
I've checked too before I did. I'm something that was gonna um even be like frowned upon by DLive, versus a rule. And I
Yeah,
and I kind of think the same thing. I think exactly what you think to where, you know, I do have people that are either uncomfortable with the blockchain, no matter how much I explain why you should or can be comfortable with it, and or they're just like, hey man, here's this, instant cash. Hey, get here's $20 for, I get a lot of, like, when people donate to me, it's like for like a lot of personal stuff. People are just like, hey bud, boom, here's $20, go, get yourself a nice dinner tonight type thing, and that's right then and there. And also without having an option to purchase Lino via PayPal, sometimes people feel uncomfortable, having to use like Amazon Pay if they're not familiar with it, or like debit or credit card when that comes back into play.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, and it just kind of even things out. Like, those people that do want to support financially that aren't comfortable with the blockchain can do so. So, but I was just curious because, um, you know, I wouldn't want it to come off as like a thing that's not supporting the blockchain,
Mm.
So
Well, it's actually an interesting topic for me because I didn't start streaming for money, right? I'm medically
no.
retired and I have a disability income. So that pays my bills every month, which is I'm blessed to have that.
Oh yeah.
But I've interviewed more than 30 guests on the show, and all over the world. Some of them doing it full time, some of them supplementing, some of them like us. It's more of, well, it's a little bit extra, but we would just really enjoy it, and that's why we're doing it.
Right.
But we keep having this conversation of, okay, obviously we know we're not supposed to beg for donations. That's just, it looks bad. It's in poor taste.
Right.
But I like what you're saying in that don't act like you don't like getting donations,
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh yeah.
People
Yeah.
they enjoy giving them. It gives them a good feeling. You're literally receiving money, so that's helpful. And I would like to personally be more comfortable with donations, with receiving them, with keeping them,
Yeah.
because I tend to give my Lino away. Um,
Yeah.
and so I'm trying to learn how to be more gracious about receiving the donations.
Yeah. That's understandable too. Because because a lot of the times when we do this, we feel like it's in a work sense, like a physical work sense. It's not strenuous to sit and talk. I mean, you and I both know there's a lot more mental, emotional work that goes
Mhm.
into it. So not discrediting any of that, but to an extent, we find this easy for us to do, or I won't say easy, but it's just a natural skill set we have
Right,
to talk to
right.
people. We enjoy it, so you can have some of that, like, ooh, do I deserve that? I really didn't do anything. Um, but
The thing
I don't.
that's
It still blows my mind that people want to give money towards that. They're like, hey, this was entertaining and fulfilling enough for me to give you money. It's weird. It's still weird to me. I've been streaming for 5 years and I still don't understand it.
well, okay, let's think about it like this though. When I was paying for TV, and this is 2011, so it's been a while. I was
Yeah.
paying almost $150 a month for cable and to have a bunch
Right.
of
Yeah.
channels,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, now I don't do that, and I haven't done that for years. Instead, I buy Lino and I give it away to people who are streaming, and I'm watching their stream, right? Instead of having
Yeah.
television up or a movie up, I can do this for free. I can watch you stream for free. But given that I have entertainment dollars to spend and you're entertaining me, I'm going to give them to you. Right?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I think about it. So it's real easy for me to give other people donations, but for some reason I still haven't like made that transition to, well, then it would also be okay for me to receive them.
It's a lot weirder. Like it's easy to go, yeah, like for you to donate to somebody else, but to think of reasons why you should receive it in the same way. It's kind of that. It's weird. It's weird like that.
I mean, I think it may come down to like a mental health issue, you know, some like sense of
No,
self-worth, or
it can be those things too. Yeah.
you know, it's
So
who knows? Because like I said, you know, we both talked about it. We both had issues with depression and
yeah,
anxiety and things of that nature. So I don't know. I think it's important to talk about though. You know,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
plenty of viewers, plenty of streamers who have these concerns, and we're a lot of what I do on stream is try to love on people and support people, right?
Right, right.
Encourage people.
Yeah,
So I mean, little things like when before I start streaming, every time I go outside. It could be
yeah.
for 10 minutes, it could be for 2 hours. I go outside and I ground myself. I look at the sky. I live on a lake. I look at the lake,
Oh,
right?
nice.
I listen to the birds chirping, things like that, just to ground myself in my reality, right? Because then I'm going to
Yeah,
go get on this stream. And like you said, we're going to talk to a screen for hours.
right,
And while we are getting feedback from the audience, it doesn't feel the same as face to face energy, right? And face to face
right,
contact.
right.
So I've also started trying to go outside after I stop streaming. So I don't have that like you were referring to, that immediate like kind of depression that sets in as soon as you
Right.
turn the stream off. And it seems to be helping.
Yeah, that's it actually seems like a really good idea because I don't have a routine of that. I think that would actually be something really good for me to have some sort of like centering before I go live, and there's some kind of wind down after I get off.
Hmm.
Um, but that's such a good point to make, man. Like I think that's where the longevity in streaming comes is centering your reality and not being moved or pushed out of that place, and just having that this is what's real,
Hmm. Well,
and this is what matters.
I've noticed like my demeanor has changed since I started streaming all the time. My how much I go out of the house, the type of
Yeah.
interactions I have, and not necessarily in a good way, you know. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like I'm having to every Monday. I don't stream now, and I go out into the community and I help somebody do something physical.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah.
good for me. It's good for them. I just got all my discs. I don't know if you guys know about disc golf, frisbee golf, whatever you want to call it, but I got all my discs shipped to me from my family where I had them in Alaska. I'm going to go start throwing discs again, right? Getting out
Nice.
into the parks in public. Yeah, I mean it's important to maintain your physical, mental well-being if for anything for longevity, but especially
Right.
streaming. Yeah, get a dog. I live in a building where I can't have a dog, so that was actually a thought. I have a stuffed animal, a stuffed dog that I got actually it's funny, Sage. I got a large stuffed animal as a channel mascot,
Yeah.
and one of the viewers named him Snuggles or Cuddles. My bad.
Yeah.
And
Wait, can we see him? I don't think I've ever
well,
seen
I
him.
was gonna say normally it would be right there on the shelf
Right.
behind me, but what's in it? Never in my life have I had like a blankie or a teddy or any of that,
Yeah.
right? At 40 years old, I bought myself a stuffed animal and it stays in my bed. I cuddle
Nice.
with it every night. And I used to carry it downstairs and put it on the shelf during the stream. It stays in my bed now. I don't even pretend like I don't snuggle with that thing every night. I do it and it's amazing.
Hey, well, I don't knock it. Whatever works,
That's what I'm
man.
saying. Like I used to be so caught up in, well, that's weird. I'm 40 years old. I don't need a
Right.
teddy bear or whatever. But I'm here to tell you, it improves my sense of well-being to have that damn thing in the bed. It's fun to snuggle with. Like I don't know.
Right.
I don't. I guess if I'm not cool because of it, then what the hell? I don't care. I don't want to be
Hey,
cool.
man, I don't knock it, bro. I don't
Rachel's
knock it, man.
jealous.
Especially that's what I love about getting into the 30 pluses versus my 20s. I'm 32 now. And is that like you just hit that 30-year-old point. Like I never understood why super old people are just like don't give a fuck, right? They just like they're just,
Right.
on the bus, like, like, just saying things and like they just do not care.
Right.
And I'm just like, but I understood it once I hit 30. I was like, you know what? The things that I have about me right now are probably not going to change. A lot of the things that I have here, as far as personality or ways that I do things at 30, are probably going to continue on for the rest of my life. But I realized that I really don't care what other people like. In your 20s, you're trying to discover yourself and all that, and do the cool stuff and young and hip and all that. And then when I hit 30, I was just like, you know what? Like, this is me and I don't care. So I'm very much looking forward to being, like 85 and just,
Right.
farting on a park bench. So
I agree with you. I started finding myself while I was about 34 is when I really started like paying attention and
yeah,
creating my own reality instead of just being pushed around by everything.
right,
And yeah, now by 40, I'm totally settled into it. I'm loving it. I
right,
wouldn't be
right.
younger for anything.
Yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying my 30s here. So
Nice. Well, guys, we always like to open up the floor at some point in our conversation to you guys in
for
the
sure.
audience. If you have questions for myself or for Sage in particular, please start putting those into the chat. We've been going almost 2 hours now,
Oh
Sage.
wow, nice man.
Good, didn't even feel like it. So I saw a few questions earlier in the conversation, but if you guys can think of some more, go ahead and put them in. The one question I remember from earlier, Drew, is they ask they've seen a lot of people that stream on, say, Facebook or Twitch, other places that also stream to YouTube.
Okay.
And the question was, they didn't really see that many people on DLive streaming or restreaming to YouTube. Why do you think that is?
Um, I think initially I saw a lot of people restreaming. If I had to take a stab at it, I would say that people feel like DLive is a streaming website that they can anchor themselves in and solely put themselves here
Hmm.
and be successful. Not to say that if you restream, um, that you don't think you're going to be successful on any said platform. But I think people view DLive as a place where they can just call home and leave it there. So
Yeah, and as you go up in levels from affiliate to verified partner to global partner, you actually have more replays stored on
mhm.
DLive. Um, I've never actually seen that many people viewing any of my replays. I mean, I,
Yeah,
I think most of
I
my
haven't really checked.
replays are at zero. Some of them one or two. That's it. So I don't think people really know DLive for uploaded videos or replay videos so much yet, more just as a live
Right.
streaming platform.
Yeah, I noticed that the replays that have the most views for me are the most recent ones. And I think that's really just people are they've found me not when I'm live and they're like, "All right, who's this, who's this Sage guy?" You know? But no, I don't think it people are like actively like going, "Let me watch a full stream."
Well, like I've got a perfect example because with these fireside chats I do, I always upload them to YouTube.
Yeah.
I always have views on YouTube, and I almost never have views on the replays on DLive for the exact same
Yeah.
video.
I, I think that's just because what you said, like more people are going to YouTube for something they're gonna watch and have no interaction with. Like that's people are used to that being the spot for that. So
Hmm. Hmm.
but that would be cool, like, because we all, at least I think it's VPs have an upload video section.
Hmm.
Um, it'd be cool to actually for people that are kind of doing the YouTube DLive thing, for that to become more of a thing. But I've never really seen that on streaming sites. Normally, it's just like streaming sites are for when people come here, they want to see like clips. That would be nice to see on like on your page.
Actually, I talked to the staff directly about that in the last week.
Yeah.
And I said, like now, if you're a partner, on the bottom right hand section of the screen, when you mouse down there, there is actually a clip feature now on the screen.
Right.
So I said, well, can we add clip as like between about, videos, replays, earnings, followers, right? Can we add another tab called clips? And
Yep.
they said that's a great idea. Yes, they want to do it, but currently the clips are done through an outside source, right? Through Tidy Labs or a separate
Right.
site. And so the software, the coding isn't built currently to allow the clips to be shown on the DLive page.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I would love for them to like I want even with it not being down there, I want clips to be more of a thing on DLive and for people to be
yeah,
um because my clips on Twitch were like a big thing that I would personally go back and watch. And I think more people that have streams as their main um source of entertainment on the internet, they're way more likely to shuffle through a bunch of clips, little snapshots of stream, than to replay a whole stream. So I want clipping, even with it being a separate thing for the moment, to be more of a thing. So
yeah, I agree. I mean, like nobody wants to sit down and watch your 8 hour stream to find like the 15 minutes in the middle that was hilarious, right? But
right,
with the clips, like you said, you can watch highlights. Um,
right,
the one thing I'm not sure if it's possible, if somebody made a clip, some people seem to only clip the embarrassing shit, right? They're
yeah,
just hanging out just so they can clip something that you don't want people looking at, basically.
right.
So I'm wondering, can you delete clips of your stream that you don't like? And if not, why not?
I don't know what you can do on
Like what?
Tidy Labs, but I know on Twitch you're able to delete clips. So
See, and that's the thing. I don't know enough about it, and like you said, I would like for those clips to be a more intricate part of DLive.
yeah,
I find them to be amazing because if I went to a new stream, turning on that person's stream for that moment, I may not get an accurate idea of who they are and what they do. Right?
right,
It could be an off day. But if they've got 20 clips loaded up and I could take 10, 15 minutes and go through the clips, I would most certainly get a good idea of who they are as a streamer.
right. Yeah, so I think part of that too of what I want to do is just promote my own stream. People like, hey, clip that, or I think I'm gonna throw a command into Tidy Labs that gives the links to the extensions, because I think a lot of people don't even know that there is that extension for DLive that you can clip, and it'll post in their chat when you clip. So, um, yeah, I think I'm gonna start doing that though.
So Sun and Steel, that's interesting, said, for now you can use Google Drive to load up fun clips and add that to the channel description.
Ah,
That makes sense. So now for DLive in the about section, we all have one. You can type whatever you want so people can get to know you, but now they allow hyperlinking as well. So like if you looked in my
uh,
about section, there's links to Discord, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff.
I wonder, is there a way on Tidy Clips now that you can look for clips under a specific person? I don't think you can search it, but I know when you click names, it'll give you a whole, like right now when I'm clicking the name of a person, it's giving me all the latest clips of them,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't see anywhere to like search like myself and see the
Mm.
latest clips of myself.
I'm not good at it. I don't know. I Until
Yeah.
they built that clip feature into DLive, I wasn't even clipping. for people,
Yeah.
you know, grabbing sections, what are they, about 30-second sections of stream. And something else I didn't realize for some reason until recently, when you make the clip, there are slide bars on left and right. You can make the clip longer at the beginning, longer at the end, or shorter.
Yeah.
So you can
Oh,
get a
I didn't.
more.
I haven't clipped anything in like a long time, so I didn't know they must have updated that because I didn't see that before. But that's cool.
Yeah, and it's nice. Like I like to watch Rowdy Souls play as a live 4-piece band on DLive now, and depending on, like, clipping isn't an exact science, right? Like when you start hitting
Yeah.
clip, it doesn't necessarily start clipping from that moment, but from moments previous, right? So
Right. Right.
so you've got to kind of learn how to clip to grab the piece that you want. But now with those
Right.
fine tuning bars on either side, you can actually make it a little more ideal of a clip.
Right. Right.
I feel like I'm saying clip a lot.
Clippity clip clip clip, and also clip.
Yeah, yeah. We need a DLive.tv/clip.
Well, you know, I do like that the DLive Twitter page posts clips there, but I think I want to personally as a streamer promote that a little bit more because I'll still go back to like my Twitch channel and just watch old clips and stuff like that. So I think it's good. It gives us more of an opportunity for like when we put stuff on our social media or stuff more offline things for people to look at and make a decision on us. Use URL. Okay, we got some smart people here. But yeah, do we have I wasn't seeing any other chat, so I don't know if you pulled any more from me.
I'm new to this too. All right, so I haven't been seeing any specific questions in chat. Again, I'll ask if you guys have any specific questions for Sage, formerly known as DrooYoo. Please ask now, because we're getting towards the end of this thing.
Yes, sir.
And one question I always like to ask kind of towards the end is to get at people's heads. Do you have a regular streaming schedule? And what
I don't know if I'm going to have one. But my current goal with streaming is to have at least one stream per day.
Okay.
So
okay.
I typically get on anywhere from like 9 o'clock to 12 or so in the morning, 12, 1 o'clock. And then in the nighttime, I typically hop on around 7 or 8 p.m. until whenever. So you can normally like during the day, like from that 12 to 6 hour is typically when I don't stream. So anything outside of that. But yeah, if you guys want to catch me live, go follow my stream. You'll get that notification, and then you'll know every time that I'm live. So,
and that's
little plug in there.
Do that through your Discord, right? Like how do they get the alert that you go live?
I was just saying through the app. If they follow on here, they'll get that notification.
Okay. So, but also another way to do it is if you have a Discord server and you're using Tidy Labs to push an alert to your Discord server.
I did that on my old server. I think I might do that and just dedicate like a text channel to it.
Yeah. That's something I started doing, which seems to help too. I guess our boy Dab Plays was in here a bit ago and said that there may be some issues right now with the app giving people the alerts when he goes live, but it's being looked at.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I think if I'm gonna do it anywhere, it'll be my Discord server. I was just more so concerned with clogging up the Twitter feed with that stuff.
Sure. Crypto Queen saying she just came in at the end, wishing it wasn't. Well, I've got something that you're really gonna like. Then it's called YouTube, and I just with the exclamation point YouTube. That's a link to all the Fireside chats, all the live podcasts I've done here on DLive with other DLive streamers. When I get done here with Sage today, I'll be uploading his Fireside chat as well, and you can watch it in its entirety at your leisure. So if you guys
There you go.
want to catch this again, by all means, YouTube is the place to be. But Drew, I really appreciate you being here, man. I know it took us a while to get this lined up. I'll be honest with you, I missed the name DrooYoo. However, after this conversation that we've had, I will fully support you in your name change to Sage.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And I'll put this out here just because I've said it a billion times, but just so people know, if you want to call me Drew, that's cool. My name's Andrew. I will respond to that. I won't be offended if it is uncomfortable for you to call me Sage, because I get it. Because for some people, I'm like, I'm even still getting used to it. But so either way, but now you can call me Drew, and that's just my real name. All right. So
exactly. If you slip up, it's not a slip up.
Yeah.
All right, sir. Well, thank you very much for being here again.
Sure.
This is my boy Sage, formerly known as DrooYoo. But you can still call him Drew. And he is back. He is more beautiful than ever. And I think you're set up more. I think you're set up more now for longevity, brother. Like your mental well-being.
I feel that.
Yeah. So it's great to see you back on DLive. I'm glad we got you on the show, brother.
All righty.
Well, let me wrap this up. I'm gonna talk to the audience real quick. If you don't mind hanging out on Discord for a second, I'll be right back with you.
All right, my man. I'll be here.
All right, sir. Okay, friends. So just so we can wrap this thing up, my name is author Joe Holt. A lot of folks call me Aloha Joe, but for legal reasons, I have to stream as author Joe Holt. There's already an Aloha Joe radio DJ, so not that guy, just in case you were wondering. Anyway, we just had the best beard on DLive on. He goes by Sage, but you could call him Bearded God if you want. He answers to that. I've done that myself. Anyway, these live streams, these podcasts that we do, it's in an effort for you to get to know us as real people, right? It's so easy to just watch a streamer and think about them less as a human being and more as just entertainment. But we have emotions, right? We have mental illnesses. We have families and dogs and kids, and we have all the same life issues that you guys have. And it's nice when we're having a rough day that you guys come in and love on us, and when you're having a rough day, we love on you. So this is about supporting each other, really. DLive, the family, the community, the streaming, what we get into here is just about loving on each other. So I really want to say thank you all for being here. I appreciate your time. I wish you all the best. If you ever see myself or Sage online and you need somebody to love on you, we're available. Period. That's how it works. So, right? We're not just entertainment machines. That's right, Rachel. But yeah, if you guys missed any of this Fireside chat live podcast with my boy Drew, I'm about to upload it to YouTube. It takes about an hour, maybe a little more. There's a link to my YouTube directly in the About section, or you could do !YouTube and chat, and it'll give it to you. But I'd like to thank you all again for being here. We're going to wrap this thing up. I'm going to find somebody to pass you off to if you guys are looking for some more entertainment here on DLive. Let's just go through and see who is streaming. Actually, how about this? So my next guest, I have another Fireside chat today, guys, at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's in 3.5 hours from right now, with a UK streamer. His name is Super Crypto Bros. Super excitable, super loving, super incredible dude. You're really going to enjoy your time with him. He likes to play a lot of Axie and other games that are specifically crypto based. So I'm going to dump you off with Super Crypto Bros. When his stream is done in 3.5 hours, he's actually going to be on Fireside Chats with me. So here's your first look. This is actually the first time I've got to do this. And I love you all. I'll see you soon. Here's Super.